I think we have a problem. Ich habe eine MP5, you give a little slap. Ich habe eine MP5, we slap it just like that. Ich habe eine MP5, we have a little fun. Ich habe eine MP5, a 3D printed one.
Listen, I didn't come all this way for you to just be gentle with me, alright? I need you to slap me hard. I need to go into battery, alright? Give it to me. Don't hold back.
Do the HK slap.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the AP5 by Century Arms, and does it suck or does it not suck? Today you'll find out. Before we get into everything, I am sponsored by you, the viewer. I have some links down below. If you feel like purchasing things in this video or anything in any of my videos, I'll have links down in the description to pretty much everything that I can. And that's basically how I get any sort of kickback from you guys, is just from you clicking the links. And even if you don't buy anything, it's just helping me if you even go in there and take a look around. So thanks guys. Let's get into it. All right, before we get into the AP5 itself, let's go over a little bit of the history of MP5s in the US. So we haven't been able to get civilian MP5s for years and years and years because HK simply didn't want to make a civilian version and sell it to us.
See a picture of it. Here it is.
Oh, right.
Did they not mention this then?
Do you know they didn't?
How odd.
It is, isn't it? Because Mercedes like to go on about their heritage and history, and they didn't mention that one.
Well, perhaps they didn't mention it because it's got Hitler in it.
I don't know.
And so a lot of manufacturers overseas were making them and importing them to the US. And one of the biggest ones was a company called MKE. And MKE is who manufactured this gun. And they were originally working with a company called Zenith. And they stopped, I think, less than 5 years ago. And basically Zenith now makes their own MP5s in America, and same with PTR. So those are both made in America. This one is imported from Turkey. And what MKE did originally when they wanted to make the MP5 is they went to HK and actually bought the tooling that HK uses to make their MP5s. And so while you're not getting an HK, you're getting the same tools, probably made it, probably older tools and made it less of a high quality standard. Clearly, because when you see these prices, it makes sense. But yeah, you're still getting a quality product from what I can tell. And yeah, so let's get into that. So what's interesting about this gun is this cost me $1,200 at the time. I bought this about 6 months ago, but to the savvy buyer right now, and if you follow me on Instagram, I post whenever Palmetto State releases their run of these, you can get these for $1,000, which to some people they're like, wow, $1,000 is a lot of money for these. If you know anything about the clone MP5 market, you couldn't get an MP5 clone for less than $2,500 5 years ago. So this is out of this world pricing on MP5s, and the next closest that I can find are like PTRs for like $1,600. So they're undercutting the market by a good $600, which is pretty insane. So you wonder when you hear that, and I wondered too, I'm like, how? I thought it was a fluke. When I bought mine, I got one of the first runs of where it dropped to $1,200, and I thought it was a fluke. So I hopped on that and bought it immediately. And then they just keep dropping in price and keep coming down. So my thought process was, are these garbage? Are these just complete crappy guns? And the more I looked into it, it's like MKE, they seem to make pretty quality stuff. So they can't be that bad. Let's get into some of the features of the MP5 platform in general, and then specific to this AP5 by Century Arms. So some of the really cool things about the MP5 are probably the number one thing is the fact that it makes a great suppressor host. The roller delay blowback system is just an amazing system for suppressing, and whereas on typical 9mm carbines, they directly blow back into the system with a really harsh recoil, the system in the MP5 has these rollers, and it slows the recoil down to a way more manageable system. So when you have the added back pressure of a suppressor, you don't get a super harsh recoil like you would on a typical pistol caliber carbine, which makes the experience of shooting this suppressed amazing. And about 3/4 of the rounds put through this gun were actually suppressed. So I had probably 15 to 20 different people test this. They all loved that. Most of them were noobs to the MP5 platform. And I think the majority of the people that shot it afterwards were like, okay, I got to get one of these. I actually have a couple buddies that since shooting this have made that purchase in just a couple months, which I think is pretty cool and speaks a lot to the cool factor of the MP5 and just how amazing they are to shoot. So definitely get one. And then as far as unique to this, so this takes MKE compatible parts. What that means is on the lower receiver, you might run into some issues. I haven't tried yet the Magpul furniture with it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that purchase, and please comment down below if you've had any experience with various accessories on this, because I think whereas in the AR-15 world it's all pretty uniform, the MP5 world is a little bit less, and that makes for finding accessories a little bit hard sometimes. But so I'm going to experiment with that. I definitely want to get the Magpul extended safety, because that is a nightmare on these guns, and that is not something that I hate it on all HK guns, but it makes it so actuating the safety, like it's easier with your support thumb than it is with your thumb that you're supposed to use. And then another common feature with that as well is like you don't use that mag release. It's just going to be a nightmare. So as far as mag release goes, just use the paddle mag release. That's what you use all day long. And then as far as the safety goes, honestly, I don't use it because it's so miserable. That's why I'm getting the Magpul one. So those are some of the features. I use the Midwest furniture, and that's compatible with it as well. So that stuff works great. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to make a separate video completely on all the added stuff I did to the gun and give you some ideas for your MP5 build. Crappy trigger. It's an MP5 trigger. It's polymer. It's just so mushy. It's not very fun. There's a couple people coming out with like performance upgrade triggers, which I'm really excited for, and I want to get my hands on one of those because that'll upgrade the experience of shooting this thing a lot more. I did a burn down of like 6 mags in a row, and by mag number 4, my finger was so tired from shooting this thing. Like it's such a long trigger pull, and it's just mushy. The reset's not horrible, but the overall trigger experience just sucks, and I would not, it's not my favorite thing in the whole world, but it's definitely something that I would look forward to upgrading. It's got good sights out of the box, so the sights that come with it are great. They're ghost ring sights, they're super accurate, they will do everything that you need a submachine gun to do. So, are they as fast as a red dot? Nope, that's why I got a red dot. But they are very accurate. We were hitting at 50 yards with this all day long, pinging a 6-inch steel target. So I think that's fairly. I think that speaks to the how well made they are, the design of them. And then one more thing on the design that I really liked about what MKE and Century Arms chose for this is they went with a tri-lug as well as a direct thread. And it comes with a little thread adapter. What is great about this is you can run both tri-lug cans or direct thread. Gives you lots of options, and I think every MP5/MP5 clone should do this because everybody's got suppressors nowadays, and there's a wide variety of suppressors out there. Let's get into the performance. So I fired 1,340 rounds through this gun over a 5-month period. About 800 of those rounds, 800 to 900, were suppressed. The reliability was interesting on this gun. So we were running into all sorts of issues with the reliability on this. We would not be able to go about 10 to 15 rounds through this gun without it jamming up on us and double feeding. And we couldn't figure it out for a little bit. Finally, at about 150 rounds through it, I decided I had oiled it. I had oiled the bolt here and in there a little bit, and taken it apart and looked at it and everything seemed to be in good shape. So what I did was I dumped a bunch of oil actually on the bolt face, which on an AR-15 I've heard from multiple people you do not want to do because it can also cause all sorts of issues with sealing around the bullet casing, and it can just cause interesting reliability issues. Well, that seemed to fix it after the 150 round mark, and it's been since 150 rounds. So like I said, we're up to 1,300 rounds. We haven't had one single jam or issue. And so that really speaks to me of the fact that these need a break-in period. And also one thing that was an issue on my end was I was using LAX ammo reloads and right out of the gate. And it was mostly just to test what kind of a break-in you might need with this. I had another buddy that burned 500 rounds through his right out of the gate with plus P ammo, and he never had an issue. So I think that speaks to, one, the break-in period, two, the type of ammo you choose with this initially, because since then I've used crappier ammo and it seems to work fine. And also the majority of this testing was done with Norma ammunition, which isn't like the hottest load, but it's not like the cheapest, LAX reloaded ammo. So we probably had 10 to 15 jams in that 150 round period, and I can attribute it both to what we were doing on our end and ammo choices, as well as the gun probably needs a break-in period, and I would inspect everything and oil it a lot more than what you think that it's gonna need, because it doesn't actually blow a whole lot of crap back in the system. The roller delay does a really good job of that. And then I will mention at about the 1,000 round mark, I took it all apart because I was cleaning it, because I was installing the extended charging handle from HK Parts. And so that might have something to do with why it stayed running smoothly, but that's kind of the reliability. And then going along with ammunition, I cycled a mag of subs through it, no problem, with the original spring and everything. So I know that you can switch to a 10 millimeter spring, and sometimes that helps with the heavier 147, 150 grain subs. I used the clean Federal ammo. It's like the plastic tip stuff. That stuff is nice and clean and seemed to have ran fine. Then one thing that did have issues, I only shot 10 rounds of hollow points through this because I was like, I'm not really interested in running all my Federal HSTs out in this demo. But it nosedived on the 10th round. So I would not trust my life to running hollow points through this. I would probably just run something, maybe subs or something like that. But further testing, I guess, needs to be done on that. And on my, I'll run some more hollow points through it. And on my accessories video, I'll let you guys know how that went. And then accuracy, we were running about 6 to 8 MOA. So I shot at 25 yards. I was getting about a 1.5, 2 inch group at 25 yards. So about 6 to 8 MOA. Which seems perfectly acceptable. I've got no beef with that. And like I said, we were blasting at 50 yards. We were hitting the steel target, a 6-inch steel target. So I can't complain. As far as if you expect super crazy accuracy with your MP5, you're misunderstanding the point of these things. And then magazines, I ran a variety of magazines. We had PTR, Century Arms, and KCI magazines. And all of those were running great. Pro tip, the magazines come and go on sale, varying from like $60-$70 to like $30 to $25 for the 30 round mags. I would check it probably monthly and just see and wait for a good time. Gun Mag Warehouse is pretty good about them going on sale for $30 fairly often. And there's a couple other places, but I would just go to gun.deals and search by their what they suggest for you. That's probably the easiest way to find the mags. So in summary, I honestly think this is an excellent purchase. Like I said, the reliability is something where I would just suggest run some hot ammo through it. It needs a break-in period. It ran great after that. Like I said, we went close to over 1,200 rounds after that of running just fine. It's a great suppressor host. If you need to do anything out of a 9mm carbine, this seems to be the gun for that. It's not like a 9mm based off an AR platform where everything's gonna be nice and easy to find all the parts you need, but there is still a lot of support for the MP5 community. So I would suggest things like Reddit or various forums to get into the MP5 game. That helped me a lot. And then I would say this is everything in an MP5 clone that I'm looking for, whether it's price, fit and finish. I mean, they did a great job. And the fact that it is, $600 less than the closest competitor, I think just prices all the other clones out of the market. I think we're going to see a lot more of these out there. And give me some feedback, give me some data on how yours has ran, because I am one person that has been through this. I know a few other guys that have the AP5. I know a few guys that have the PTR. And so there's various pros and cons. I will say overall, I think this is a better buy than a PTR, as well as just from personal experience, I think this is less gassy, but that's just mine versus another friend's. But yeah, I would say overall, this is everything I would look for in an MP5. Appreciate you guys for watching. Look forward to the video after this, which will be all of the stuff I put on it, if you're interested in that and seeing what you yourself want to put on your MP5. Thanks, guys. Just a side note, because I know everybody's going to be commenting on it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I would definitely think about your options, and whether you comply or don't comply is 100% up to you. Just be smart about what you do and always follow the law, right? Okay. Have a good one.